As extremist parties across Europe continue to rise, ironically, in Eurozone countries like Italy and France rather than Brexit Britain, not addressing the public's real concerns comes at a high political price. Which is why all of the parties fighting it out in this general election must do a lot less talking and take up the art of listening. A lot of it is obvious: a more efficient and effective NHS, more GP appointments, a shorter waiting list, faster A&E, safer streets, better schools, an economy that works for everyone, and tackling the scandal of in-work poverty. The cost of living has got to be tackled, slaying the dragon of inflation and getting interest rates down so that people can spend money in the economy rather than keeping a roof over their heads. Plus, we've got to build, baby, build. The list goes on. None of these policies are controversial, and I'm confident that they will be pursued with vigour and creativity by whoever gets in. But there is an elephant in the room so large that London Zoo could not accommodate it: immigration. The main parties have shied away from this issue for so long, for reasons of political correctness, for fear of being called xenophobic, a bigot, or worse. But addressing the current numbers, which both Labour and the Conservatives have this week acknowledged are too high, is essential in order to sustain a good quality of life for our existing rich and diverse society. How legal net migration of 700,000, a city the size of Leeds, every year helps poor people or minority communities in Britain is anyone's guess, because it clearly doesn't. It's obvious to everyone, well, everyone except our actual politicians and well-heeled, out-of-touch figures in the media, that those numbers are going to impact housing, the health service, school places, the welfare bill, and our transport infrastructure, plus the small matter of integration, which is critical for a successful society. Plus, with the inevitable downward pressure on wages and rising rents, as an extra 700,000 people every year have to live somewhere, it will hit the poorest most hard. Politicians can't run away from the truth forever. In the end, it will catch up with them, as it did with the establishment when Brexit happened in 2016. Very few saw that coming, but it was a cry for help from ordinary people who felt that the political establishment were living on another planet, insulated from the real-world consequences of their policies and dismissive of the concerns and needs of the great unwashed. In the end, Brexit was won in the eye to the media, the political and the corporate elites, who did everything they could to stop it. But just as the truth will out, so the popular will shall prevail. Maybe not at this election, but soon. If all the parties continue to promise action on illegal migrant crossings, which are a national security, humanitarian and economic disaster, and unsustainable levels of legal net migration, which even the woke Archbishop of Canterbury acknowledges are too high, then smaller, more extremist and outlandish voices will gain popularity. This must not happen. The real risk at the moment is that the public will disengage from the democratic process altogether, as they take the view that voting just doesn't work. And that takes us to a potentially very dark place. The main parties all have valid points on immigration. The Tories say that they will crack down on the abuse of student visas. Labour have said they want to get Brits working rather than relying on imported foreign workers. And the Lib Dems promise to tackle the asylum backlog. All good stuff. And the SNP and the Greens are absolutely right to point out that immigration should not be framed as the source of all of our problems, or for immigrants themselves to be demonised. Far from it. Sensible levels of immigration are a very good thing and highly welcome. Immigration is critical to our economic and cultural success, and I say that as the son of Irish immigrant parents myself. Labour today would not say what level of numbers that they would like to achieve, and the Tories are similarly reticent. Well, if you don't have a target, you're never going to hit it. So all of the parties should have an honest conversation over the next few weeks with the public about what a good number might be. For immigration, like everything else, the dosage is the poison. A pint of water is very good for you. 20 pints of water is not. Politicians are uncomfortable talking about immigration. Tough luck. The public are not, including black and minority ethnic Brits, who are just as concerned about the impact of these unchecked numbers on their own lives and on the country that they love. Whether the politicians like it or not, this is the immigration election. Ignore that at your peril.